I want to show you how to work with the ruled surface tool. First I start with the GraphiCAD. I draw one flow line. I'll take the flow line and copy it into the P2P. Component, embossed ruled surface. This is the flow line, and I know that I'm in ruled surface mode because I have this window, and as you can see the background is gray now. Now in order to add a section, I just right click, use the add section. This will add a default section, and that's it. I've got my ruled surface. Okay, I can modify it by moving the flow line. I can add, if you look closely you see the shadow of the cursor when I'm walking on the flow line. I can break it and then I can move it again. So this is the basic one flow line ruled surface. Now I go back to the GraphiCAD. I will show you how to do the same with two flow lines. Now let's look a second and see what the direction of the flow lines. You can see they both flow in the same direction. This is important for the ruled surface. I will show you in a second. I'll copy both of the flow lines, go back to the P2P, paste it inside the P2P. Now I'll unmark the one flow line, you can hide it, and then in order to get the new flow lines, I right click, flow line, paste. Now as you can see, each flow line has a different color, and this yellow arrow shows the flow of the flow line. Now if one of them is on the other direction, I can right click, reverse, but this way if I add a section, I click on the first one, then on the second one, you'll see I'll get split. So let me delete all sections and reverse it back again. Okay, now I just add a section, click 1, click 2, and here's my ruled surface. I can change the surface, the section height, let's say 5 millimeters. I can change both section height. In order to mark both section, I control click the other one, and then I can give it the same height. Very simple. Okay, now what happens if I want to have a different section? First of all, I can change the section by playing with it, and I showed you how to break a flow line. I can also break a section. Okay, but I can also, let me delete all the sections. I'll go back to the GraphiCAD, and I've already made a section. I'll just copy it. Now it's in the mailbox. Go back to the P2P. Now I can right click section, paste, one click, second click, and I get the same section as I wanted in the GraphiCAD. Okay. Now the third way is using a third flow line. I've showed you how to use one flow line, and I showed you how to do two flow lines. Now we'll see how to use 3 flow lines. I'll use the same 2 flow lines I used earlier, and in another layer I made this flow line. Now you'll notice that the height in Y is 3 millimeters. I'll show you why is it important. I'll copy all the lines, go back to the P2P, make file new, I'll paste, looking up. Now I go back to component, emboss ruled surface, and you can see that the third line is exactly, the Z is exactly 3 as the Y value of the line when I created it in the GraphiCAD. Okay, so now when I add a section, you'll notice that the height of the surface is exactly 3 millimeters. Okay, now the cool thing about it, let's just move the surface a second and I'll break it here. Okay, now you can see that if I play with the third line, it will also change the surface, because the third flow line is exactly the Z value of my surface. Now in order to get the surface into P2P, I just hit the process button, let it calculate it. Of course it works exactly the same with the mill, because the mill has the same ruled surface as the P2P. And I got the P2P surface corresponding with the ruled surface I just designed. That's it, very simple.